Crush.
Welcome to Facebook Live. My name is Richard Turnji and welcome to Crush Wednesday today. Today's a very special topic. We are talking about personal training is dead. That's what I'm talking about today. I've got a very special guest today. I'm going to introduce you in a second. His name is Paul Timms, and I wanted to bring him on this show because I asked him the other day, where is the future of fitness going? What are we going to talk about in this Crush Wednesday episode? And he came back and he said, well, personal training is dead. And that's straight out like that. Welcome, Paul Timms. Welcome to today's Facebook Live Crush Wednesday. So good to have you here. How are you?
I'm fantastic and really excited, Rich, and I'm really excited about this topic and it's great to be back talking to you and working with you again after many years. We've had lots of things over the years we've been involved with. So thanks for having me.
Let us talk about that for a second. So guys, if you are tuning in, welcome to Crush Wednesday, 9:29. I had a few technical problems at the start, but we're good to go. And I want to introduce you to my next guest because we are talking about personal training is dead. And so I thought that's a big statement there. How are we actually what are you going to talk about there, Paul? So who's Paul Timms? So Paul Timms is someone I know for many years. Paul Timms, in fact, has trained over 7,000 students, 5,000 students as a personal trainer, and most recently over 2,000 students as coaches, wellness coaches, so forth. And so Paul's founded the Australian Institute of Personal Trainers. He then went on and founded a National Coaching Institute, and he's moving into a new era, which is Healthy Nation, which I might even talk about a bit later. But I am just so interested in this topic around personal training is dead. So welcome, Paul Timms. Tell me, what do you mean when personal training is dead?
Well,
there's a lot of people on this Crush, by the way.
It's a big statement, and I'll be upfront about it. Partly it's just to get people's interest. But let's take a look at, looking back. Let's look to the past. Back in the year 2000, let's look at the landscape of. Let's go back in the time machine, right? Yep. So I had a full head of hair. You had lots of curly hair. I remember those photos of you, Richard, back in 2000. So back in the year 2000, for those viewers who are perhaps under the age of 30, there was no Fitness Australia. There was no Australian Institute of Fitness. There was no Australian Institute of Personal Trainers. And in fact, there was really no personal training. There was some crazy people doing personal training. In fact, there's 112 personal trainers registered in the year 2000. I think you were one of them, Richard, your little 16-year-old. And there was a couple of brands out there. Over in Western Australia, there was a company called Renouf's Personal Training that were doing personal training studios, which was really fascinating. I went over there with a group of mates on a boozy trip, and I came across that in the late 90s. And there was a company called New Level Personal Training, Travis Bell, and there was a company called Vision, two crazy guys, Andrew and Jeff, who were doing some training in Caringbah. But really, personal training wasn't even a thing. And I was working a corporate role, and I thought, I want to come into the fitness industry, turn my part-time aerobics instructing gig into a full-time gig. And I thought, I sat there on the sidelines, and I thought, where is the opportunity? I went to America, saw 24-hour fitness over there, went to the UK, saw personal training over there. I thought, boom, this is it. The future is personal training. And that's why I registered the Australian Institute of Personal Trainers. And like most futurists, you starved for about 5 years because personal training wasn't even a thing. And it wasn't until Biggest Loser came on TV in 2004 and Adro won the first challenge that suddenly everyone wanted to be a personal trainer.
Right. So
really, the past was that personal training wasn't a thing. And our mission at the Australian Institute of Personal Trainers in the early days was, to raise the profile and improve the standards of personal training. And the question, to change the question from what is personal training to who's your personal trainer, that was our goal. Now we've got 50,000 personal trainers, probably more, out there doing personal training. And we sold the ARPT back in 2011. And since then we've been watching. So if you think about the future and the statement personal training is dead, I think what I'm saying there is personal training as we know it is dead. If you think about the skills you needed as pick anything. Let's say what's a skill? So as a pilot, back in 1950, what were the skills you needed as a pilot? You probably had to pump the tires up. You probably had to, actually physically fly the plane. You probably had to do a whole lot of mechanical stuff. Now they're basically the plane is flown on by computer. You've got to be a completely different skill set. So whilst the identity of a pilot is still the same, the skill set and how they operate and what they need to be is very different. And that's what I'm saying. Personal training as we know it right now I think it's in transition. I think it's moving from, I'm here at the gym, I've got my poster on the wall, I'm going to take you for a couple of sessions, show you how good I can be. I'm going to charge you $40 a session, $50 a session, and I'm going to be here every week to help you train. And I think that's the old school personal trainer that we kind of have all been able to sort of rely on as bread and butter.
Yep.
And I think the smart, but I know your ninjas particularly who are sort of on the cutting edge of this are looking at the future and combining their online marketing and their personal services and creating a sort of fusion of services. But if we think about the future, I think we can all agree by 2030, let's think about 10 years ahead. If you think about how things are changing now, we could pretty much assume that the model of personal training as it sits now is no longer going to be the way to make money and the way to actually help people achieve goals.
Well, this is interesting. If you're just joining us on Crush Wednesday, we're talking about topic personal training is dead. I've got a special guest, Paul Timms, who's trained over 7,000 personal trainers and coaches over the last decade. And we're talking about this topic. So if you are joining us, please say hello. I can see Olivia, Kate, Rose, Ann, Ashley, good to have you joining us here. Comment below and say, what do you think about this topic? Is personal training dead? Now, it's interesting you say that because personal training is evolving. Yes, I started as a personal trainer at the ripe old age of 17. I bought a studio at 18, and that was the thing to do. But now, as you say, Paul, there's 50,000 personal trainers, and personal training is now a normal thing to do. And so is it getting congested is my question. And then you're talking about adding extra things. And this is a great conversation because, yes, in our program, our Ninja program, we do have a lot of personal trainers that are already infusing, I should say, what they do and what the client actually wants. What's the feeling? What's the outcome they want? So are you kind of talking about that as a personal trainer, we now have to have more skills such as psychology, we need to understand maybe nutrition, and these are all topics that are happening. What else do we need to, do we need to have more tools in our toolkit? Do we have to do more courses and more certificates? What is it actually you're talking about if we generate to the new world of personal training? What does this look like?
Well, let's go back. Let's make it really simple, because before we get into, we're going to finish this conversation with, where do we go from here? What do you need to do right now to position yourself to take advantage of the massive opportunity that the future holds? And in any industry, there's people who are just followers. They just go along with the trends. And they're kind of like behind. They're constantly lagging behind. They're like, oh, wow, we're doing online coaching now. Wow, that's a thing. Oh, wow, we're using kettlebells. Like, they're constantly following the trends. They go to FEAT every year. They kind of learn a few new things, and they sort of spend the next 12 months sort of doing what's 12 months old.
Sure.
And then you've got those disruptors. If you go to FEAT, for example, I remember the old days. There's always that weird person there. I remember back in 2001. Lisa Westlake sitting there with these big beach balls, and people were teasing it, going, what are those things for? And she's got Swiss balls, I would call back then. She's like, these are going to be a thing. They're going to be huge. And they're like, oh, what a joke. Like, why would you use a ball? And then she's talking about stabilization and da-da-da. And one guy from Newcastle, I think his name was Brad, he goes, I'm going to build these balls in Australia. And he creates an entire business around building these really high quality fit balls. Lisa starts running workshops. She's the leader. She's the disruptor. And suddenly people go, oh, wow, fit balls are now a trend. You take any of the current trends, kettlebells, like, what the hell are those things? Every single year, there's these new things that come out. And it's those people that are just the futurists are looking at trends overseas, and they introduce them to the local market. So that's continuing to happen. And the ones that adapt and embrace those early trends. I mean, what's Owen from Crank It Straps? I mean, there was TRX. That was the only brand. So there's watching for these trends is part of the skill set of an entrepreneur, to constantly looking at new trends and timing it so you can introduce that to your own business. And sometimes that becomes your whole business. There's been plenty of people who do that. So let's go back to the simple things, right? How do you know what's going to happen in the future? How do you look in the crystal ball? Okay, here's how I do it, right? So the first thing that I do is I spend a lot of time with people in different age groups. I'm going to ask you the question, Rich. I know the answer. I think I know the answer. So think about, and I want everyone listening to this webinar to answer this question. I want you to write down a piece of paper, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, like write them all down on paper, like down, right?
Okay.
So these are the age groups. So I want you to think about it in terms of the pie chart. How much time do you spend with 20-year-olds in your average week? How much time do you spend with 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds, and how much time do you spend with 80-year-olds, right?
Yeah.
One of the keys here is if you're spending time, like if you don't spend any time right now with if you're 40 and you don't spend any time with 60-year-olds, you're mad. Like I've learned, I spend a lot of time with mostly 60-year-olds. Why? Because they're freaking smart. They teach me, they got wisdom. They say, Paul, when I was 40, here's what I'd be doing right now, spending more time with your kids. Don't worry about that, it'll all pass. So there's a lot of wisdom in those different age groups. And so you can sort of think, well, the 40-year-olds now will be 60 in 20 years' time. Go spend some time with 60-year-olds. Find out how they think. Find out what they want. They want dogs. They want caravans. They want freedom. They want well-being. They want to connect with other people that are not old fogies in an old fogey home. They want to be excited. I know this, right? So because I spend time with them. So just that one little piece of gold there, I think that's something I learned from somebody a while ago, and I've really used that.
That's great, because what you're saying here, to predict the future, yes, the technology changes and items change, and that will change. However, what you're saying is the fundamentals won't kind of change. They're always going to be the same fundamentals if you're 60 or 70 or 80. The needs and wants are going to be the same if it was in 2020 or if it's in 2095. Is that what you're saying, Paul?
That's right. Your marketing brain, you've straight away translated this, because, the needs and wants of a human being will remain the same, right? A 10-year-old wants an iPhone. Like a 20-year-old wants a car, wants to travel. These are things that will always be the same. They've always been the same. They'll always will be the same. And we're in the business of satisfying human needs. That's what we do as personal trainers. So if we understand rather than going, a report shows that the 80-year-olds want this, get up close and personal and spend more time with people so you can start positioning yourself. And the blue ocean, red ocean strategy in marketing is, hey, there's lots of gaps, like if you're a 35-year-old and you're running a PT business and you're comparing yourself with lots of 35-year-olds, go spend time with people who are much older. And the thing about 60-year-olds, and in our industry, we've got 60-year-olds now, like Jamie Hayes and Nigel Champion. They've had their time and now they're mentors. They're happy to share knowledge. They're not in competition with you anymore. They're not worried about your gym membership anymore. It's the 40-year-olds and the 30-year-olds and 20-year-olds are all climbing over each other to compete. Go spend time with people in different age groups. Find out what they want. Great
insights here, and shout out to Jamie and Nigel. I think we had some shout outs to Owen there. We had heaps of people shouting out. Guys, if this is making sense, I'd love some comments here. I've got a comment from Joanne. If you consider the lack of quality of education, David says, I've trained them. David Bowman, he trains old generation. Kate, Lisa is great, which is amazing. So guys, I'm loving one of your questions. So comment below. You know what I'm like? I like some love. So give me some love or some wows. Give me your thoughts on this topic here. Do you think personal training is dead, and where is it going? So while we get those questions, Paul, I hear what you're saying, okay? But I'm a personal trainer and I'm saying, hey, Paul, that's nice, but I'm not an innovator. I'm not I'm not changing the game. I was told that personal training is the thing to do. So if I'm a personal trainer then, and I'm working my 20, 30, 40 hours, I'm trying my best there. What skills will I need to have? Is there, how do I get that apart from speaking to somebody? Yeah. Is there a way that I follow? Do you think personal training will now merge into multiple different things? We hear a lot about wellness at the moment. We're hearing a lot about nutrition. Is it merging in? Do I need to have multiple certificates, do you think? What are your thoughts on this? Because you have trained over 7,000 people.
Yeah, there's a difference here. And, I'm a personal trainer, always will be a personal trainer. Hasn't changed. Matt Church is a personal trainer. Now, a lot of people have gone on from personal training to other things. When we look at how do you train yourself and position yourself and what skills do you need, firstly comes the awareness. So this presentation today is about awareness, So looking at the global trends, let's look at where the world's heading. So it's great to say, well, what's the 60-year-old need? But let's look at the world trends. Now, we know that in the future, 2030, there's going to be a bigger gap between the haves and the have-nots. Would you agree?
Yep.
Give me a yes, comment on that, click yes or no. Does everybody agree that we can see the future? What's happening is we're widening out the haves and have-nots. People with money are getting more money. People with no money are getting less money. Is that what we're seeing? Is that agreed upon the group? So that's the first statement. The gap between the haves and have-nots is widening. And the countries, yes or no? What's the feeling, Richie? What's coming back?
Yeah, definitely. We are definitely widening. Sorry, I was just looking at my comments just there as you're talking to me. So yes,
So let's split them into two halves, right? So I live in a community in central Queensland, which is absolutely ground zero. There's people with lots of money and people with absolutely no money. Unemployment's 26%, people struggling. So what I can see here is that people with money they want boutique, they want bespoke, they want tailored, they want high quality, yeah?
Yes.
Right? And they're willing to pay for it. They want the best, right? The people with no money, they can't afford. What they need is activity. They need good nutrition. They need all these things. And how that works is the government, the social security system, pays for that stuff. So there's government programs. So in the widening gap, you position yourself as either being someone who provides high quality, tailored personal approach, right? Or you go, I provide a program that's rolled out by the government. It's funded. It's done through aged care facilities. It's done through schools. And it's actually focused on that as well, right? That's one opportunity.
Yep.
I've got 3 points here. The next one is that in the future, everything that's a product now will be a service, right? Everything that's a product now will be a service.
Product will be a service.
Everything that's a product now will be a service, right? So think about music. Yep. When I was 20, it was a product. It was a CD.
Sure.
A friend of mine just bought a car. And he's got a massive CD collection. Guess what? There's no CD player. So he's like, so think about food. At the moment, it's a product, right? And it's merging to a service. Like there's a little bit of home delivery, but in the future, nobody's going to go to a supermarket and buy food. It's all delivered. It's all shopped for you. Yeah. Your fridge does the shopping for you. It turns up every week.
Yes.
Service. You know?
Makes sense.
Makes sense. Okay, number 3.
Delivery meals at the moment. So now it's just like taking the next step. We think about the food delivered straight away.
And now as a personal trainer, we provide as a service. We are actually already at the forefront of that. And so service is key. Service is key. The products are secondary. The supplements, the gym, the equipment, the kettlebells, secondary to the fact that I provide you with service. I'm here for you. I'll provide you with whatever you want. I provide for you, right? I'm your complete fitness entourage.
This is like the third space, Paul. We think about this because, I mean, people go their home, their work, and then they do this hobby, this activity. Do you think this third space is merging? Yeah. The whole thing's merging? I think
the third point in the global trends is that people want connections. Okay. So you've got home, you've got work. It used to be 2 places. Home and work was 2 places. Now, increasingly, home and work is the same place.
True. Yeah.
So it's really not even third place anymore. There's 2 places. There's home and work, and there's a place I go to socialize. And we were talking about this, Rich, and I think in our business model, we had, firstly, we came in as a disruptor, and we marketed online, and we also marketed offline. So we do seminars, events, and things like that, offline marketing strategies, and convert them to online because people didn't really know what online was. Now, what we're seeing is that people are connecting online, and then they're coming to meet people that they've met online face to face. Take Tinder, take anything. It's all online first, and then filtering, and you're filtering through all these masses of thousands of connections you're making. How do you engage with them offline in the real world, out of the matrix in the real world, right? So we have to have high quality touch points that are punchy, that are engaging, that are fun, that turns online relationships into human relationships. So, and people only come if it's niche, if it's targeted, if it's exactly for them. So people want connections, that won't change, and the value of human connections will increase. I've run coaching programs for $30,000 to $50,000 a year, and what people are really buying is they're buying a seat at the table with other really high quality. If I think about some people in my network, Steve Jensen, yourself, Richard, Nigel Champion, Jeff Jowett, Andrew Simmons, some people that we know that are just amazing. You see them speak at Filex, and I said to you, hey, you know what? You can spend time with these guys once a month in the flesh, for 2 hours. What's that worth? And the quality of that connection and the quality of the conversation is worth thousands of dollars. It's high quality, right?
Okay, so this is interesting. There's a lot to take on here, guys. If you are joining us, this is Crush Wednesday. We're talking to Paul Timms. Paul Timms is the founder of the Australian Institute of Personal Trainers, National Coaching Institute, trained over 7,000 trainers, coaches. And we're talking about the subject here is personal training is dead. And so what you're telling me, Paul, is that it does come down to understanding how to connect to that person. We bring them online and we connect. Personal training is only one of those things that we need to connect to. They want a whole array and they really want the end product. And so you're saying personal trainers have to be responsible to kind of take the whole product aboard, not just the one service of personal training, because now our worlds are all merging into one. Is that kind of what I'm hearing here?
You're hearing it. And, think back, when you were selling directory listings, Meet Your, and transitioned to complete online marketing, and it was literally just flipping it to going, okay, do the whole lot. And the need was already there, right? You were first to move.
That is true.
You were first to
A
move.
lot of our clients, and I've got some comments here I'll read out in a second. A lot of our clients, they come to us, they say, I'm selling, my 2 sessions of personal training and I'm charging whatever I'm charging. And I say that's every day competing. But as soon as we understand they're not selling the training, they're starting to sell the emotion they get, which is community, which is a feeling of confidence or happiness. That's the world. So personal training is only one of those sectors to get to the confidence or the happiness of what they want.
Yeah.
So Paul, and I've got some comments in a second, but Paul, does that mean as a trainer I still have to keep getting educated here? When does the education stop? Does it stop? Should I keep educating?
Let's move into okay, this is all great. And, I'm deliberately kind of agitating and kind of opening people up, and you might feel a bit confused and a bit overwhelmed, and that's perfectly okay.
Well, what I know with Paul, guys, is what happens here, we blow the big picture up and then we turn it down as well. Before we get to that, let me read some comments, Paul, before you go into your closing statement here. So Joanne's, yes, I started out with a vision to study exercise science to work with return service people, and I integrated my IT skills with psychology and coaching. We have a question here. What is your emotional selling position? I don't know if you want to answer that one, Paul. What is your emotional selling position? Do you want to answer that one?
I can, yeah. So let's look at, that's all great, but let's bring it down to something we can actually grip onto and apply, right? So first thing is this, right? What you actually are, and you've had a sense of this, and you've been doing this for a long time, but you haven't told yourself this, what you really are is actually a personal coach. That's what you really are.
Here it is.
You're a personal coach. You've been doing it for ages, actually, without knowing it.
Comment below if yes or no, do you agree with that statement? Are you a personal coach?
You're a personal coach, and you specialize in personal training, whatever it is that you do, right? So you are a personal coach. You coach people to do what? Now, you've got qualifications and you've got equipment and you've got things behind it. So I'm a personal coach. I specialize in, I'm a personal trainer. I do fitness training. I've done this qualification, that qualification. So I was a physiologist, but all that stuff, people go, yeah, that's boring, right? Awesome. So, but the statement with a personal coach statement, we sat back here in our little seaside retreat, and we went, well, what do we actually do here at National Coaching Institute? And it's really simple, right? You got to answer this question. I help who do what? I help who do what? Now that's the question. I help who do what?
I help who do what? I love it.
I help who do what? And we're really heart-centered. So we do heaps of stuff that and we, if you're not helping someone do what, you're wasting your time. You're not here for I'm here in this earth to help who do what. And it's changed over time, right? But it's always going to be that question. I help who do what? Richard, complete on marketing, answer the question. You can probably answer it because it's what you do, right? I help who do what?
I help influencers reach their outcome and basically have a healthier nation. I do that through helping trainers, wellness providers, because they want to help their community.
So it takes a bit of thinking, right? And this is where you're having a coach and a conversation in the Ninjas program or follow up. You can hear that Richard's starting to sharpening it up himself. He says 1 version, 2 versions. About the 10th or 11th version, it's really sharp. Like I help return soldiers avoid PTSD. That's what I do. We go, oh, that's clear. Because once they know what you do, they can connect you to other people, right?
And this is great because then in marketing, once that whole brand positioning and marketing, then obviously I'm going to say, well, how do you do that, Paul?
How is the next question? You've got to start with the what. You've got to start with I help who do what. And it's really interesting because as you know, I'm 20 years in industry now, so it's become harder to just, when I say something like, I help kids get active, it's like, no, I do so much more than that. I want to tell you about, I help professional speakers get more gigs. But you've got to be like a laser. to step through. So yes, you might do more things, but you got to have the confidence to say, I help, who do what. And
guys, if you're listening to this, comment below who you help do what. Why don't you do the exercise now in the comments? I want to see some more comments. If you don't want to do that, maybe do the who and maybe do the what. So I help, who do what. Comment below for us now and share what you do. Paul, keep going. Sorry.
Personal coaching. So where do you from here? You're actually a personal coach. Now, straight away, I came in year 2001. I went to Cairns and opened a personal training studio. I was an aerobics instructor and I'd done my aqua module. I mean, what the heck? There wasn't a qualification for that, right? But I'm like, all right. I was like, I need this. I went and got the training, got the skills, and they weren't even invented yet. So I went and got the course, which
it was tough to find a course back then.
It wasn't. I think New South Wales had the only course available.
Yes.
Back then. And I went to Fitness Queensland. I was on the board and they were like, you can't call yourself a personal trainer. I'm like, why not? Because you haven't done the course. I'm like, well, where's the course? There is no course. I'm like, okay. So if I say that you're a personal coach, straight away, there are skills that you do not have as a personal trainer that you actually need. And it's called coaching. Now, you might think you're a coach, and I get most people think telling people what to do and educating them, it's coaching. But there is actually 11 competencies of coaching that's laid down by the International Coach Federation. Has been around for a long time. And I had to jump into that executive coaching world to learn those skills. And it's about powerful questioning, active listening, creating intimacy. There's a whole lot of skill sets that's in that personal coaching realm that lives outside of the fitness industry. It's actually living in the coaching industry. So you've got to go over there and go over there and grab those skill sets and bring them to and the fitness industry will eventually creep up, because every 2 years they review the personal training course and they update the course to reflect the roundtables they had 2 years ago. So it's always lagging behind the curve. It's always lagging behind the curve. And it's run by a committee. So there's 35 subjects, and it's like, let's chuck in business, let's chuck in all this stuff, which is kind of useful. Yeah. But the Cert 4 will always lag behind where the community needs, because of the nature of how dynamic our industry is. So go out into the coaching industry and grab the coaching skills, become a certified life coach, wellness coach, business coach, whatever coaching, because those skills, I had to go from being a person who could coach anybody with a smaller business than me, and it was just fine. We were coaching small businesses, $1, $2 million. But then I had a client walk in with $26 million revenue and said, I want to grow to $100 million. And I'd never done that. And it was the pure coaching skills that I'd learned that allowed me to coach him. Because before that, I was actually mentoring him. I was training him. I wasn't really coaching him.
Right.
So coaching, it's a whole new world.
I love this. And this is what I've been trying to get to this whole conversation. But Paul's, what we'll hear here is that, guys, if you're just joining us, we've gone from personal training, the servers, and what we've been teaching in marketing, probably since I've been talking about videos, that's been about 15 years, just smashing on videos and brand and concepts, that what the videos do and what the marketing do, and why I want to bring Paul on, because what marketing does and what video content does and what our new brand, Meet Your Personal Trainer, does, it provides people, showing them why you're an expert for, not because you got a profile video and say what you do, but ultimately you got to show people how to actually get to that point. And that's what it's about today. And, David says, I provide a community to help people get fitter and healthier. Olivia says, I help mums avoid back pain and fatigue and help them feel confident and get back in their genes. And amazing ninjas there. Kate, good to have you joining us. I mentor personal trainers to become passionate in health and fitness. And Joanne, where is the most recognized coaching course? Maybe we can send some links there for you later.
Yeah. I'm going to go right into your topic. You were just so in tune, me and you, man. We're like yin and yang.
Guys, just a bit of background between Paul and me. We've known each other for a long time. And I met Paul very quickly, because I know we're going to wrap this up. I've got a meeting next. But I met Paul, and it was at an expo, wasn't it, Paul? It was at a fitness show, wasn't it?
Yeah, you've always just been like a better, younger version of me. That's right. And
we basically met because I was in the online space, and Paul had those top positions in Google, and I came across to Paul and I said, "Hey, Paul, I'm going to be next year #1 on Google for the term personal trainer."
Yeah.
And Paul looks at me like, "Who are you?"
Who are you?
Sends me packing.
You're a little guy, and you crushed me. I loved it.
Next year I came back and I said, "Hey, Paul, you want to talk?"
#1 now. Yeah.
We ended up having coffee together, and the rest is history.
Next step. We'll wrap it up. So #1, where to from here? get the skills, get the qualification, get the skills. Most importantly, get the skills and the training as a personal coach. You might still call yourself a personal trainer, but get the skills. They are available. They're not rocket science. They don't live in the fitness industry. They live in the coaching industry. So yeah, we can chat about that. This is not the purpose of this call, but there's ways of getting that really quickly that we can talk about.
Great.
Next step, get the marketing and sales skills are key. Marketing and sales skills in the future, 100% absolute key. 100% key. You've got to, there's no separation between, so the old personal trainer didn't have to be a marketer, didn't have to be a sales guy, could just rock up and go, here's my cards on the counter, I'm a personal trainer. In the future, marketing and sales skills are absolutely core skills of a personal trainer. They're not separate. You have to be able to market, which is get people excited about one thing, getting active, eating right food. You've got to be better at marketing the Heart Foundation. You've got to be better at marketing the government. Sales, you've got to close. Mate, if you want that, you've got to commit. Let's do this. Let's sign you up. Let's get you started. Steve Jensen, you've got to be like Steve. You've got to be like Richard. And you've got to be like me. You've got to be like adopting those personas and channeling them, because your life purpose is to help people avoid back pain. That's what you do. I help people with back pain get free of pain. That's what I do. That's all that I do. I bang on about it all the time. Everywhere I go, I'm the back pain guy. Come and see me if you know anyone with back pain. This is the sort of confidence you've got to have to cut through. And you've got to be able to amplify that through marketing and close that with sales. All right. It's your life responsibility to be good at sales and marketing, because you have to sell something that people want to buy, and that is exercising and doing that the right way.
Excellent. Sorry, was another point, Paul?
Yeah. One more point. This is the final thing I'm going to say about this in the advice. So everyone, you're a personal coach. That's the future. You need to be marketing and sales savvy. Absolutely key. And thirdly, you have to really create rapid results. You've got to partner. You've got to work as a team. Teamwork makes the dream work. And when you're a specialist and you know what you do, the reason that I can work with you, Richard, because I know what I do and you know what you do. And actually you can do what I do and I can do what you do to a point. But we can work as a team because we're specialists. And if you can partner with people and work on those projects together, you'll get massive results really quickly. And it comes back to connection. It comes back to that third space. As business owners, as personal trainers, as change agents, we have to work in teams, and we have to go into a community and crush it. We have to go into Bundaberg. We have to go into Wagga. We've got to go into Launceston, and we've got to flip the whole town. We've got to get everybody working together. And this is the leadership skill to come together and to do more by doing what you love with more people.
Love it, guys. This is huge. We could go on for hours, and I think I might invite Paul back to some different webinars, maybe our Ninja program as well, because I really honestly believe that, we are personal coaches, and in marketing, we keep talking about what's the end product, what's the feeling that you provide, what's the feeling you provide. And yeah, there may be a couple of skills that you need to pick up, which is the coaching, what Paul's talking about here. But I do like the advice, just to recap there. Look at somebody older generation, younger generation, figure out what they're doing, what the young and old are doing, and figure out in between. That's the reason why I like engaging with Paul. I have a younger team. I engage with older people, so you can understand what's missing and you be the change agent. That's what Paul's talking about. And then obviously, talk about I help who and do what. I love this. We had heaps of people writing what they do in the comment section, which is great. And ultimately, it does come down that, I don't think personal training is dying. It's just adjusting. And if you don't adjust, what's going to happen? I think you will be as good as dead. And I think the statement that Paul made at the start is correct. Because at the end of the day, it's just like the DVD shop. We still watch the movies, but we don't watch them by renting a Blockbuster or a DVD out. We watch them through another means, which is Netflix and Stan. And in the future, that will be gone as well. So guys, if you've just joining us, go with the start, because this has been a fascinating Facebook Live. And as I said, I'm going to get, if you have enjoyed Paul, right? Yes, I'm going to get Paul back. Paul, just very quickly, I think there's a few people that maybe don't know you or have never been introduced to you before. So if you could maybe just give me a plug on your website. Is it Healthy Nation? What's the URL there so people go check you out and start seeing what you do? The
best way, I'm looking for a team. I want to work with people who want to make a difference in the community. So our business is called Healthy Nation. The URL is healthynation.com.au. We do provide the Cert 4 in fitness like every other second person does, but we also provide coaching certifications, life coaching, so forth. But the main thing I'm interested in, I don't mind where you've studied actually, it doesn't really faze me. It's more about, look, if you want to actually work in a team, you want to be part of what we're trying to do, which is transform the wellbeing of the community, it's game on. I help people become industry leaders. That's what I want to do. So if you're up for that game and you want to become a leader in your community or in your niche, I want to talk to you. And that's why I talk to you, Richard, about how do we help people do that. So healthynation.com, just hit me on Facebook. I'm Paul Tyndall, all over Facebook.
We've just put a link to Paul's healthynation.com.au, guys. There's a few comments there. I'm going to wrap it up, but Paul's going to go in and comment. Some people asking me coaching calls, all that kind of stuff. Paul, go in and make some comments. Guys, this has been amazing. Paul, thank you for your time. Great to have you on board again, and you'll hear more of Paul. Guys, this has been Crush Wednesday. This is like every Wednesday. If you aren't in our Crush Your Fitness Marketing group, please go and do that now. It's called Crush Your Fitness Marketing. You can find it on Facebook. Press to join, and it's going to ask you 2 questions. Where'd you hear about this? Say Richard and Paul. Request to join now. It's called Crush Your Fitness Marketing because we have more in-depth conversations in those groups as well. So, guys, I'm going to see you next time. I need to wrap it up. Thank you so much, Paul. I'll see you next time on Crush Wednesday. Bye for now, guys. Thanks so much. Continue the conversation in Crush Your Fitness Marketing. Bye for now.
Thanks, guys.
Crush.